Hello everybody, hope you are doing well. Today we are going to be implementing the sending of emoji icon in real time. As you can see, we are able to send text messages, voice recording, video, images. We need now to add the ability to add emoji icon. But before we start working on it, we need to fix a little issue here. As you can see, when I send a voice recording, I get the link. I don't want the link, I want to write send voice recording. So let's start by fixing this, then we will talk about the emoji icon. So let's start coding. To fix it, we need to go to the inbox row view and add new condition here of else if message.isAudio equal true. In that case, we will copy this and replace it with just send voice recording, and hopefully everything will be working now perfectly, and we can finally start to focus on the bigger problem. Okay, perfect. As you can see, we got send voice recording, which is perfect. Now I want to be able to send emoji icon. And to send an emoji icon, I'm going to write it using UIKit. The reason behind it is because nowadays most apps, they don't code 100% SwiftUI. You always have something that is a little bit tricky that you prefer to implement it using UIKit. And usually to use UIKit code inside the SwiftUI app, you need to use a component called UI view representable. It's a wrapper that enables us to use UIKit code inside a SwiftUI code. And some of you, if you are not used to this component UI view representable, it's very easy. It's a wrapper that enables us to use UIKit code inside a SwiftUI view. It's very easy to understand. You will have in the description a link to the documentation if you want to know more in details, but it's very easy to learn and it's very easy to understand. Anyway, we will first start with writing the UIKit code. So let's start coding. We will go to our component. Inside our view folder, we will create a new file that we will call emoji text field. Okay, perfect. We are going to import UIKit, and I'm also going to import SwiftUI because I'm going to implement the two classes, the SwiftUI one and the UIKit one in the same file. If you want later to separate them, that's up to you, but let's import also SwiftUI. And first thing, we will start with class UI emoji text field, and it will be of type UI text field. So far, I think nothing that we need to really understand. First thing to do an emoji text field, as you probably have guessed, is we need a boolean to know when to show the default keyboard and when to show the emoji keyboard. So we will need a boolean. We will call it isEmoji. So var isEmoji. It will be of type boolean. By default, of course, it will be false because by default we will display the default keyboard. And we will use a didSet observer that will be called every time the isEmoji value changes. And in this didSet observer, we will call self.reload input view. It's a function that enables us to refresh the view, so to refresh our keyboard. Okay, perfect. The second thing I need to do also is to be able to get rid of the keyboard, to close it later. To do so, it's very easy using, we will write override var text input context identifier. It's of type optional string, and it will return an empty string. When you return an empty string, that way you tell the keyboard to disappear. Okay, which is perfect. And when I'm talking about the keyboard, of course, I'm talking about the emoji keyboard. Okay, perfect. Now the second thing is now to have a variable that enable me to tell him, okay, you know what, in this case, show me test on the is emoji variable, and in this case, show me the keyboard type, return me the keyboard type that is by default, and in another case, return me the one where the emoji keyboard. So I will write, it's a very easy also function to understand, override var text input mode. It will be of type UI text input mode, and here it will be for mode in UI text input mode. Okay, apologize. Input mode dot active input modes, and here we are going to do the test. We will check that if mode dot primary language is equal to emoji, and is emoji equal true, is emoji, the variable that we just created, is equal to true. In this case, self dot keyboard type will be equal to dot default, and we will return the mode. Else, if it's not, if is emoji is false, in that case we don't give it a keyboard type of dot default, we return directly the mode. And of course, in the case where I don't have any mode, which is any mode that is active, in that case, of course, I return nil, but I don't think we will be in this case ever. It's always either it's an emoji, and in that case we will return the keyboard, this one by default, else we just return the mode without changing the keyboard type. And this is all you need to write for the UI kit code, which is very simple. Now I'm going to go to something called or the SwiftUI code now, and I'm going now to use my UI kit code. So first thing, I'm going to use something called a UI view representable. So let's start by writing a struct emoji text field. It will be of type UI view representable. And now to make it very easy, I'm first going to conform to this protocol. And before I start conforming to it, let's go to the documentation, and that way we start understanding what we need. If we go to the documentation, as you can see, it tells us it's a protocol, it's a wrapper for a UI kit view that uses to integrate that view in your SwiftUI view. Of course, the link to the documentation will be inside the description. Anyway, if we go, you see that we got a make UI view function that will enable us to create the new object and configure its initial state. So we will need this one, and we will also need to update the UI view. So we need this function to update the state of the specified view with the new information from SwiftUI. As you can see, they are already required. So if I go now and click to add the protocols, okay, he added this one, I don't like it. Okay, strange enough, I expected him to add to function. As I said, I need a make UI view. Okay, perfect. This function, and as you can see, it's required. The second function that I also need is update UI view. It's also required. So it will be update UI view. Okay, perfect. And first thing, I need a text. Because if I go to my chat view, for example, and I apologize, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. I need this one. I need access to $viewModel.message text. So I need this value. So I will have at binding var text, and it will be of type string. Another thing I also need to know is emoji. As you know, we got is emoji, that is a boolean. I need to be able to bind it to is emoji that I will probably create in my view model here. So here I will create at published var is emoji, and it will be of type boolean, and it will be equal to false. I need to bind this value to my text field. So I will have at binding also var is emoji, and it will be of type boolean. It will enable me to know when to show my emoji keyboard and when not to show it. And another thing also I need to do is when I go to my chat view, as you see, I got some like a placeholder here where I write message with string. So I will need a placeholder. So I will create a variable, I will call it placeholder, and it will be of type string, and of course with an empty array. Okay, perfect. Now let's start working on my make UI view. But I don't want it to return some UI view, I wanted to return a UI emoji text field. So I wanted to return a UI emoji text field, the one that we just created using UIKit. Okay, perfect. And the first thing, as you know, is to initialize it. So it will be emoji text field, and it will be equal to UI emoji text field. And to fix, because it needs to return a UI emoji text field, we will return emoji text field. Okay, so far it's good. Now I need my emoji text field to get a placeholder, to get the text. So it will be emoji text field dot placeholder, and I will give it the placeholder, and emoji text field dot is emoji. Also I want to give it the boolean, so it will be equal is emoji, and I want also the text. So emoji text field dot text, it will be equal to text. Okay, so far I think I don't think it's difficult to understand. And in my update UI view, as you saw in the description, if I go to my update UI view, I apologize, where is it? As you see, we need to update the state, so I will probably update the text and the emoji, so it will be, rather than a UI view text, I will replace it with UI emoji text field, and that way I get I will always update UI view dot text to be equal to text, and to is emoji, so UI view dot is emoji, it will be also equal to is emoji. Okay, perfect so far. Now there is something else that we need to take into consideration here. Okay, so let's go back to our documentation. And something very important in my documentation. Okay, so let's go. Okay, this part. It tells you the system doesn't automatically communicate change occurring within your view to other parts of your SwiftUI interface. When you want your view to coordinate with other SwiftUI view, you must provide a coordinator instance to facilitate those interactions. For example, you use a coordinator to forward target action and delegate message to your view to any SwiftUI view. And that's what we need to do now. I really hope that I'm not going too fast and that everyone is able to follow so far. So we need a coordinator, as you can see, to communicate our changes. So we will have class coordinator, and it will be of type NSObject and UI text field delegate, because I need to be able to update these delegates. Okay, perfect. So I will have a parent, so var parent, it will be of type emoji text field. I will create an initializer, of course, of parent self.parent equal parent, because it's a class, so you don't have an initializer by default. It's not like a struct. And now why I used UI text field delegate? Because I want to be able to change. So I need to call there is a function called text field did change selection. So which is which is this one. I want to be able to update the text, so parent.text will be equal to text field dot text, else an empty string. And I really hope that you understand why I need this coordinator, because in the UI view representable, as you see in the documentation, it's very easy to understand why I really need it. Okay, perfect. Now we need this function, make coordinator, which create the custom instance that you use to communicate changes from your view to other part of your UI interface. So we are going to use it. Okay, as you see, it returns a coordinator, and we are going to call our coordinator. We will write return our coordinator, and we will give it the parent that is self. When I say self, which means our emoji text field. And like I said in previous video, when it's only one line, you don't need to write the return. Writing this is the same as writing a return coordinator. Okay, perfect. One thing is still missing. Here, as you see, I give it the placeholder, is emoji, the text. I also need to pass the coordinator as a delegate. So it will be emoji text field dot delegate. It will be equal to context dot coordinator. And that's all you need to be able to implement the emoji text field. Let's re-explain. We need a boolean, as you can see, to be able and that we will be observing, and every time this emoji will change, we will reload the input view, which will update the view, which will update the keyboard, so to know which one to display. This one we return an empty string, so that way we can hide the emoji keyboard. And here we do the text to know what kind of mode we return with what keyboard type. Okay. And in the UI view representable, it's a very easy one. It's a wrapper that enables us to use UI kit code inside our SwiftUI code. So it's very easy to implement. These are required function. This one to initialize, or like they say in the documentation, create the view object or undo the configuration, and this one to update the state, and as you see, the coordinator we needed to communicate between our views. So it's very easy to understand. For people who want more details, you can check the documentation that will be in the description. In our case now, we will continue coding, so we will go to our chat view. And now it's time to use our emoji text field. So it will be emoji text field. And for the text, we will give it this one, $viewModel.message text. For the placeholder, we give it this one, the message. And I don't need this text field anymore. And for the is emoji, it will be $viewModel.is emoji. Okay, I think that's what I need, which is perfect so far. At least that's what I think. Okay, I think that's all I need. Maybe I will give it a frame with a height of 25. But that's all we need. And of course the face.smiling need to be inside the button, so I will have here a button with action and label. Here I will have my image. And in the action it will be viewModel.is emoji, and it will be .toggle. That's all we need. Hopefully everything will be working, so finger crossed everything will be working, and hopefully today's video will be helpful for you to learn how to use UIKit code inside SwiftUI, and I think it's really helpful nowadays. So let's test our code. If I go to the message and write hi space, and as you can see, I see my emoji icons. Let's choose this one. I click on send, and the message was sent with the emoji icon. If I click again on the emoji icon, it should be this should be hide. So perfect. I think it's working perfectly the way we wanted. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.